All right, everybody. It is Monday night. Time for cheap seats. Normally this is Gene's thing. He's usually running this, but he couldn't be with us tonight. He'll try to be back next week, but life happens. He's taking care of some stuff, but it's all good. You usually see Jordan up on here. He's also got stuff he's taking care of, so had to bring in the ringer. We got Coach Dante here. I mean, you guys know him from Sports Empire Network, doing all the play-by-plays and everything. And I mean, this is my first time actually, I think, doing a show with you. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Key already saying what's up's going on, Key. But yeah, so cheap seats, for those of you who might be new to it, it's just barbershop sports topics. We're not doing the normal thing where it's like, oh, what happened in this game last night? None of that. It's just sitting around, talking sports, and let's have some fun with it. So you guys in the chat, you already know. You can throw out topics as well. We got some time at the end of it. We'll take the best one or two and debate it as well. But before we get into everything, Coach, how you doing tonight?
Hey man, I'm doing awesome. How you doing, man? Thank y'all.
Good.
Thank you for having me on cheap seats for the first time. This is the first time me and you done some work, so I'm definitely honored to do it, man. I'm definitely honored to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, I'm honored to be on here with you because, like I said, you with the play-by-plays and everything, like you know your sports, so I know it's gonna be good.
Definitely.
So yeah, like we said, kind of before the show, I have a couple of topics. I have my normal one gotta go, but I do want to start off with an NFL question for you.
I gotcha.
So, looking at the NFL, it kind of recently there's been a lot of news about the NFL in terms of gambling. Players gambling, getting in trouble, and all that. Simple question: do you think the NFL has a gambling issue? Like, do you think it's a big deal, or it's just like that's not that bad right now?
Well, it's a big deal for us. The player that the Indianapolis Colts are going to be missing, in Michael Pittman Jr., who's the number one and best wide receiver, who's one of the best young receivers in the game. So that's a big deal. But I do think the NFL is starting to have a gambling issue. You had Calvin Ridley, at his best, sitting out a full year with the Atlanta Falcons, for the gambling issue, and then you got another player, Isaiah, sitting out under investigation for it. So yes, I do think the NFL got a gambling issue, and like I said again, it's gonna hurt basically the Indianapolis Colts a lot because they're gonna be missing their number one target. Now you're hearing rumors about DeAndre Hopkins all of a sudden and what they're gonna do at the receiver position. So for us, the Colts and the team wise, yes, it's gonna definitely hurt them.
All right, so Keith says Michael Pittman was fake. So I guess we'll say, because I did see that in the chat as well. Well, all we know is the Colts have an issue with it. So It's another team that's dealing with the gambling problem. And I kind of agree with you. I think still at this point, it's probably not the biggest deal in the NFL, but it's kind of happening a little bit too much right now for my good. It's like, I thought once the Ridley thing happened, players are kind of be hesitant to do whatever they're doing. But then we just saw like Jameson Williams, and then he's talking about he didn't even know the gambling policy and all that. So it's kind of seems like the Players Association isn't doing their job preparing these players for, the changing landscape of gambling in sports.
Yep.
Because we know that, a lot of the other leagues have kind of embraced sports betting because it's a big industry. But if the players are unsure of what they're allowed to do, where they're allowed to do it, then I think more of these stories are going to happen. So the Players Association is going to have to figure this out, and I don't even know what they're supposed to do at this point. Send out a memo? I don't know. It's like I don't get it, but yeah, I can't understand how players would put their career at risk. Because yes, I get it. Sports betting it's fun, I guess, if you're good at it. I mean, if you're bad, it's not necessarily the best hobby to have, but like just know when you could do it. Like if you're on team facilities, it's like wait till you get home, man.
Yeah, at least wait till you get home. That's to be the best time to even do it. But in the team facilities, nah, man.
Yeah, I mean these athletes, man. Some of them, I don't know, but hopefully this is another cautionary tale. Like, even in the locker room, like if you're a teammate and you see somebody who might be doing that, like as a veteran or a leader, maybe you're the one who has to educate some of the younger players if the Players Association is not doing it.
Definitely. So, what I come up with, for a topic, and it's an interesting one right here. You got, you got Phil Simms who makes lists every week, every year. So now you got half of the top 40. Got Lamar Jackson at number 5. You do have Trevor Lawrence at number 6. Jalen Hurts at 7. Watson at 9. Matthew Stafford, who was hurt all year last year, most of the year, at number 10. Jones at number 11. You got Kirk Cousins at 12. Prescott at 13. And you got Russell Wilson, 14. Geno, 15. You got Tannehill, 16. You got Jared Goff, 17. Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, 19. Matt Jones. Any problem with that list that you got? Oh, who would you flip flop up out of that top 20?
Oh man, that's a good one. So you had Lamar at 5.
Yes.
And Lawrence was 6.
You have Trevor Lawrence at 6. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, Mac Jones at 20. I mean, even the Patriots fan of me, I couldn't necessarily argue with him being that low. Where was Hurts again?
Hurts was at 7 behind Trevor Lawrence.
That's a little. Well, I don't know. That's probably arguable because I could say Jalen Hurts because of just what he did last year, and I think the trajectory of his career. I could say he might be a little bit better than Trevor Lawrence. Like I get it, Trevor Lawrence is a great arm talent. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a really good quarterback, but I probably put Hurts slightly ahead of Lawrence right now.
Yeah, like I got Lamar Jackson. I kind of put him a little lower. I think he deserves to be in the top 10, but not in the top 5 due to his injury history last year. Mm-hmm. I will argue I will put Jalen Hurts at number 5 because I think he's shown enough for the past 2 years. He led the Eagles to the playoffs and to Super Bowl last year. So I think he's done more than enough to earn that top 5 spot. Trevor Lawrence, like you said, he does have arm talent. But, I mean, this is on I can't be sold on Trevor Lawrence having this one good season. I got to see it again this coming year. I don't know, man. I don't know about Trevor Lawrence at number 6. I think, to me, that's too high, a little bit too high for him. I think if you want to put him in the top 12, I think you can definitely do that at that point. But, Aaron Rodgers, think he can still get it done with a good defense over there, in New York. He's got a better receiving core already than he had over there his last year in Green Bay, so he's already got that accomplished. Watson, you got to see a full season up out of him. He was into a good groove at the late part of the season last year, so he showed some talent to be a top 5 quarterback when he was actually playing a full season in the NFL. So Matthew Stafford, I think he should be a little lower. I think he should be a little lower a little bit. But Russell Wilson at 14, what you think about Russell Wilson being at 14? You think it's about right?
Because I mean, Russell Wilson. Look, I was a big fan of his with Seattle. He had a rough year last year, but I feel like that was mainly Nathaniel Hackett because once he was gone, he started playing better. You bring in Sean Payton, I'm assuming Russell Wilson's going to look a lot better. But so who was 13 and who was 15? Like who was?
So you had at number 13. At number 13, you had Prescott. You had Prescott. You had Kirk Cousins at number 12. You can argue I would have put Kirk Cousins over Matthew Stafford's spot. I think he's borderline. Like I say, I understand his playoff history. It's not really good. I understand that part right there. But he's still a good quarterback in this league. Statistically, when you look at him, he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He just can't get it done in prime time in a big game. That's just all it is. So statistically, I still think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's no more than that. But the only thing about it, he just can't get it done in the regular season. And we forgot their secondary wasn't good last year. They got help on the secondary position with Byron Murphy. They did get better with him. They came from Arizona, so they should be a little bit better. Their running back room is going to get a little younger because Dalvin Cook won't even be a Minnesota Viking this coming season. He's going to be somewhere else. So Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, I don't know about putting him in the top 11. I think I will argue top 17, one of that. I think he did have a solid year, especially improving his turnover rate.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones is going to be interesting because last year, the Giants weren't all that good. So it's kind of easy for him to sneak up on a couple of teams. But now with this year, I mean, they did bring in Darren Waller.
Yeah.
I think there's still questions with the wide receiver position. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a top 12 quarterback next year.
Yeah.
That's an interesting list. I was actually trying to pull it up because you said it was Chris Sims or Phil Sims,
it
right?
was basically Phil Sims. He make his top 40 quarterback list every year. And, he already got his 40 quarterbacks down. Desmond Ridder ends up at the last spot, just at number 40 right there. Got Tua at 21. Probably because of the injury.
Right.
Last year, you could argue he shouldn't even play another game after he got a concussion that second time. You can argue, but they threw him back out there anyway, and he looked bad doing it. Jimmy Garoppolo at 22. Now I'm surprised Justin Fields, at 23. But again, Justin Fields had a terrible squad. Let's be honest. I mean, you're not going to win with Chase Claypool being your number one wide receiver and Darnell Mooney being a borderline number two at best. So number two wide receiver, you're not going to win many games with that wide receiving core. They had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Their tight end don't show up time and time. Cole Clement. Now they got a better tight end though. Robert Tonyan is going to be nice from Green Bay. Robert Tonyan is going to be a nice little target. DJ Moore is a nice little target. Now we get to see the real kind of Justin Fields, I think, this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Justin Fields will definitely have a better year. I think they made some additions to the offensive line as well. It has to be better than last year. I mean, last year he was running for his life last year. Even though a lot of people, I think, are wildly underrating him, especially some of the Bears fans who like trade him and all that. I don't think you need to do that. I think it's hard to evaluate a quarterback like Justin Fields until you get the right pieces around him, and then you could be like, oh, now we see the kind of talent he is. If he's dropping back, scrambling because defensive linemen are in his face, I can't say he's a bad quarterback because of that. It's just the team around him. So I think this year will be important for him because with the upgrades that they have made, I think want to see some type of progression in his game this year. But I think he'll have a pretty good year. I do think that.
Yep.
I'm still trying to find that list, but because I was trying to remember all the names you said. I mean, Ridder at 40. Look, I mean,
he's the last quarterback on the list.
I mean, that seems about right because I don't even know if I can name the 41st quarterback, but he's going to be under the microscope as well because that Falcons team made a lot of additions in the offseason. That's a division that's wide open, and I think a lot of people feel like the Falcons should be in play there. Yeah. So if they're not early on in the season, I could see, Taylor Heineke getting snaps on that team.
I like the Saints. I do like the Falcons' ability to. I think the Falcons are borderline the second best team in the division. But I still like the Saints a little bit more better. They do got some stability at the quarterback situation now, and Derek Carr. Opposing if Michael Thomas can come back to his old self, which is that would be kind of hard for him to do. But you do got Chris Olave who can open up the field. You do got Chris Olave that can open up the field. And you got a very good defense, man. A lot of people don't talk about that defense. Marshawn Lattimore, they did lose, David Onyemata to the Falcons. That was a good move that the Falcons actually made. They did lose him, but they still got a lot of strength in that secondary and on that defensive line. Not to mention DeMario Davis at the linebacker position. So I still like the Saints to win the division. I don't think they're a threat in the NFC, but I do like them to win the division at least at 10 wins at best, 10-7 at best. for that division.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, that division is wild because I've been going back and forth. Like, I think if Bryce Young plays well, I think Carolina could be the best team in that division. It's just that it's going to be tough for a first-year quarterback. He's going to have to get adjusted to the NFL speed and everything, so they might drop some games early that maybe they shouldn't. And like you said, I think the Saints will be improved because of Derek Carr. You know, Atlanta made all these moves. Their biggest question marks going to be Ritter. And Tampa Bay, look, if Baker Mayfield is good, then Tampa Bay can surprise some people. But sitting here today, they're probably third or fourth best in that division. But, yeah, I mean, the quarterbacks in that division are interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting because it's like boom or bust with every one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, top four, we already know who they are, but like, what order did Phil rank them? The top four.
The top. You talking about the top four? Like talking about down at the bottom, right? Down at the.
No, one through four. Cause I think you started.
Yeah, he haven't gave it his top four yet. His top four.
Okay.
It's not there yet. He only got 40 through 6. He only got 40 through 6 right. He only got 40 through 6 right 5 right now. Mm-hmm. But assuming the top four, we probably know those top four quarterbacks. Probably Patrick Mahomes are number one, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and you have Herbert. You have Herbert at the spot. So we can assume we know the top four position. Top four, but it's just in what order do we have them in?
Okay. I mean, that's interesting, especially this early to try to pick the quarterbacks. But I can live with that list. Yep. Also, I did find it. Okay, I just found the list. Because I was wondering where some other players were. I mean, Richardson 36. Okay. I mean, Deshaun Watson at 9 is another one that I think Deshaun Watson bounces back next year. And I think if he looks anywhere like his Texan self.
Oh, if he's 2020,
I think he's much higher than 9.
Yep. If he's 2020, Deshaun Watson. Yep.
Geno Smith, Tannehill, Goff. I mean, Kyler Murray 19, even though he's going to miss a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, I think the list isn't that bad. Jordan Love at 31, because I know somebody in the chat brought up Jordan Love. Oh, Josh.
You said
hopefully
Jordan.
Love does good.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Love behind Davis Mills. I mean, that's not necessarily
that's not
necessarily optimistic right there.
That's not necessarily terrible, especially the way down Davis Mills looked last year. That's not necessarily terrible at all. Oh.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, Jordan Love's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
because he waited a lot of time behind Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know if the cover's necessarily bare, but he'll probably have some of the same struggles Aaron Rodgers had with the receiver core.
Yeah,
but he has good running backs to help him out. That's always good for a young quarterback. But yeah, Love at 31. I mean, I can't argue for any higher than that necessarily. Yeah. I mean, the rookie quarterbacks, like I said, Anthony Richardson, 36, Stroud, 37, Bryce Young, 38. So he has Richardson being the best out of those three.
Being the best out of those three, yep.
I don't know if I would agree with that. Yeah, I think Bryce Young will be the best next year.
I think Bryce Young is the better quarterback out of the three. I think for us, CJ Stroud, I think for us him the best accurate quarterback. I think Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, I think they're going to be instant players day one. I think you could have argued those was the only two ready quarterbacks coming in the draft, coming out of the draft. Borderline Anthony Richardson. But just because the coach, didn't really have a quarterback like that, now Anthony Richardson, you're gonna see him day one as well, and him and Jonathan Taylor. I think that offense around him is James Steichen. He's gonna put that offense in Anthony Richardson's hand, and he's going to bring the best out of Anthony Richardson. And if Anthony Richardson uses somehow that Shane Steichen offense that can help him be successful, he can also use that running game at Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richardson can be something good. Now, I think Anthony Richardson has the highest upside out of any quarterback in this draft. He's athletic. He definitely has trouble with some accuracy issues, but Florida wasn't even a good team last year. Florida was not really that good of a team, how it looked. The receiving core wasn't really that good. The offensive line was pretty bad too when you look at Florida play. So really, was it Anthony Richardson or was it the team actually was bad? I really think Florida was that bad last year. Florida was really that bad last year, but Anthony Richardson do got to improve on his decision making. So he is very good. He is talented, but NFL, they're more physical, they're more faster. You got to have the pocket awareness, and that remains to be seen. But he's looking good right now. He's looking good right now in OTAs. But other than that, I think he has the highest upside out of both of those. Out of any quarterback in this draft, he has the highest upside if he breaks the right way. If he breaks the right way, he has the highest ceiling.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Let me catch up on some of these. Jacob, what's up? What's going on, Jacob? Sijin, who's been kind of a regular whenever I'm on here. What's up, Colin? Coach, what's going on, Sijin? David, you put in Lamar Jackson, got that big contract. I mean, yeah, with that big contract comes the responsibility and the pressure now.
Yep.
Side and Russell have a bounce back year, and I already put this one from Josh. Hopefully, Love does good. Yeah. Trying to see what else of this list is interesting. They got Purdy and Darnold basically 26 and 27. So basically, the San Francisco quarterback position is not that great.
No.
I can agree with that. Tannehill at 16.
I think he should be more like in the 20s. I think he should be more like 2021, somewhere like that. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is that bad of a quarterback.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback, but I think he should be more in the 20s range right there. Don't think he's a great quarterback, but he's good enough if you put with the right pieces around him. He's good enough to win you games.
What's up, Jory? Perfect timing because we're just talking about Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
So I guess let's let you know we're looking at this says Chris Sims, but Chris Sims did a top 40 quarterback list, and okay, so she's already caught up because she said I think he's fine at 16. My only question would be coming off of the year that Jared Goff had last year. I don't know if I would have him behind Tannehill. I mean, Derek Carr, that's probably arguable. I mean, Murray at 19, that might be a little high for him. But
I like that just with Kyler Murray. I like that. Then he's going to be injured. I kind of like that with Kyler Murray. Right there, 19.
Little interesting, maybe Mac above Tua. I feel like most people would say they'd probably take Tua over Mac Jones, although I think Mac Jones is going to be much better this year with Bill O'Brien running the offense. So, I mean, I don't know. Looking at the players behind Tannehill, putting him at 16, it's not the biggest crime, I would say, but I could maybe make the argument for Goff over him, possibly Carr.
Yep. Goff had a great 2 years, had a good underrated 2 years in Detroit. He had a good underrated 2 years, so I think he's deserving of that spot.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, you definitely agree. You can argue Derek Carr. Just the Raiders was a bad football team last year. They were pretty bad last year. Even with Devontae Adams, they were pretty bad last year. Darren Waller, kind of checked out on him early, pretty much. I don't know if he had it. 1 minute he has a hamstring injury. 1 minute he dealing with some issues. I just think Darren Waller checked out. He didn't want to play beat in Las Vegas no more. He wanted to be somewhere else. Hunter Renfrow was getting hurt. The only consistent offense they had was Josh Jacobs. Yeah. Really, that's the only consistent thing they had out of him and Devontae Adams. Otherwise, the team as a whole was pretty bad. And Josh McDaniel wanted to move on from Derek Carr. He did everything he could to try to move on, and they actually did it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting for Waller if he didn't want to be in Vegas. Now he's in the New York market. Like if he sits out a little too long with a little hamstring, that media market's gonna eat him up. So hopefully he's ready for all of that. But yeah, I wouldn't put all of the Raiders' issues on Derek Carr for sure.
Yep.
They're just dysfunctional.
Yep.
I mean, what else about the list? Geno Smith 15. Look, Geno Smith is one of the better stories of the NFL last year.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, I think that's fine for him. The fact that Russell Wilson's only a spot ahead of him, like when that trade was made, people thought, you know, with Russ going to Seattle, that he was going to be going to Denver, was like going to be like a top 5 guy. Geno Smith was a guy who didn't really work out with the Jets, didn't know what you were getting. Only one spot ahead of him. Seattle still kind of came out of that trade looking really good.
But I mean, arguably, you can argue they had Nathaniel Hackett, who wasn't ready to be a damn NFL coach, and he looked like it last year the way he did. But Russell Wilson still had problems. Anyway, the receiving core, is always off the field.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, as good as he is, he's always off the field. Jerry Jeudy is never on the field always. Their running backs, Javonte Green got hurt early in the season to his ACL up. Melvin Gordon was useless because of the fumbling issues.
Mm-hmm.
That team, the defense was actually keeping them in games. Their defense was top notch, pretty much, with a shutdown corner and Patrick Surtain. But for any time you have to hire another coach to help you use your timeouts and situational football, that's pretty bad. And you could tell right away in that Seattle game when he settled for that damn 59-yard field goal that Nathaniel Hackett didn't know what he was doing right then and now. That told you he didn't know what he was doing right then and now.
Yeah, that's the same thing as when the front office will fire the assistant coaches and keep you on board. It's like they basically want to fire you, but they're giving you one last shot at it. So yeah, that was not the best look for Hackett. But that's now the Jets' problem, although he's just an assistant coach there. So
yeah,
I guess the offensive coordinator, so he's kind of in his element. And Aaron Rodgers wanted him, and he's been running the Jets off season anyway. So why not sign him? But I mean, that's gonna be an interesting list, especially when he does 1 through 4. I want to see how he puts 1 through 4, who he has. Like we know Mahomes will be 1, but 2, 3, and 4 will be interesting. And then probably a list, if I can remember, at the end of the year to kind of see where these guys kind of look based off of the year they had. But outside of that, I think the rest of the list isn't too bad.
Don't have a problem with the list at all. I think the list is all right. You can make an argument for a lot of people on that list, but the list is pretty good. It's pretty not nothing to argue or get hot over too much.
Right. And I've heard Chris Sims say some wild stuff, but this list, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
All right. So that kind of actually is a good transition to mine next one, because I had a one gotta go, and it's with NFL quarterbacks.
Gotcha.
So this one has Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. One gotta go.
You said one of them gotta go.
Yep. So you're keeping 3 of them, and one's gotta get booted off the island.
All right. So if one gotta go, I'ma only do this because Lamar Jackson to me gotta go.
Okay.
Because his injury history, that's the only thing. If Lamar was healthy, I would say Josh Allen would have to go, because I think Josh Allen, to me, is under a lot of pressure this year. I got him as the quarterback under the most pressure this year. You got Stephon Diggs. As your wide receiver, who doesn't look too much happy after losing to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now you got Dalton Kincaid, who's come in. So now you got 2 good tight ends that you can use or that you can throw to. You got Gabriel Davis, who burst on the scene. And I think also the Buffalo Bills offense for Josh Allen, I think they asked Josh Allen to do too much. I think They asked Josh Allen to also do too much as well, to be a runner, to be a passer. They don't use the running backs that much in the offense, so they use Josh Allen a little bit too much. But other than that, he has some turnovers in critical situations that cannot happen if you're going to stay or be a top 5 quarterback, and if you want to take this team to upper heights. Josh Allen has to figure out a way to get it done a lot, get it done. He has to figure out a way to get past Kansas City. He has to figure out a way to get past Joe Cool, because against Minnesota, he had a terrible turnover in the overtime. Against the Jets, he had 2 big-time turnovers. Of the game that I actually called, he had 2 big-time turnovers. So we've seen several times when Josh Allen threw the ball in coverage that he wasn't supposed to throw it in. And this team is too good not to be at least going to an AFC championship game. So if it weren't for Lamar Jackson injury history, I would actually have Josh Allen got to go. So I think he's one of the quarterbacks up under the most pressure this year. This team is too good. This defense is good enough. They did lose Edmonds at the linebacker spot, but they still got Matt Milano, who's really good. So this team is too good not to get to an AFC championship, and it has to start with Josh Allen. But the offense do ask them to do a lot, because they don't use the running backs a lot in the offense. You keep drafting running backs, and everybody's saying they need a running back. They need a running back. They just don't use them. Devin Singletary was a 900-yard back 2 years ago. He was an 800-yard back last year. So it ain't the running backs' problem. It ain't the running backs' fault. Actually, they just don't feature the running backs. I think that just adds Josh Allen to do too much. That plays up into his being turnover prone a lot in big time situations. But he's up under a lot of pressure, though. He's up on a hell of a lot of pressure this year.
Yeah, he definitely is. Hold on. So Jory put Lamar, and then Key put don't let Jordan hear you say that. I mean, hey, we already know. We already know about Jordan. So for me, looking at it, like Burrow was the easy one. He's staying. I mean, Herbert, the biggest thing you say about Herbert is his coach might be standing in his way more than anything. I do think it comes down to Lamar and Josh Allen. Like, the only thing that's worrying me about Josh Allen is he's regressing ever since Dayball left. But a lot of that could be because they have him doing too much. He has to lead the team in rushing, passing, and all that. That's a lot of pressure to put on a, younger guy. The turnovers, I put a lot of that on him, because of a lot of instances where he just throws the ball up. Yep. It's like an easy interception. It's like your team's too talented for you to take chances like that. Look, Lamar, we know his limitations throwing outside the numbers. We'll have to see if Odell can help with that, because we know he has a wide catch radius. But he just has to get more accurate for me. He's another guy who kind of runs a little bit too much, but they have like 2-3 running backs that they usually have on the field with him. I might go Josh Allen, because of the interception trend that he's been on. That's a little bit worrying to me. Kind of as Jory put, Josh Allen's very talented but very reckless. We've seen quarterbacks through history who were kind of like that.
Yep.
Brett Favre took a lot of chances and would throw interceptions at the worst time.
At the worst time, yep.
Phillip Rivers, another guy who kind of took a lot of chances.
Yep.
So, Josh Allen's gonna have a lot of pressure on him this year. Lamar as well. I mean, actually, all of them kind of do, because Burrow, he's been close, hasn't gotten that ring yet. There's pressure on him there. Herbert, for a guy who's as talented as he is, he probably needs a deep playoff run this year, to be honest.
Yeah, he do. Probably, about the time.
So, but I'll go Josh Allen, but I can agree with you, Lamar. If you said Lamar's got to go, I wouldn't argue against that either. You pick either one, there's a valid reason for it.
There's a valid reason for either one. But the only one thing Joe Burrow, cool, you can kind of give him a pass on. He has been to the Super Bowl,
right?
On his the second year of that, him getting it together. But they're going to lose one of those wide receivers. I believe T. Higgins is going to find somewhere. Is going to go somewhere else. I don't believe they can pay all of those wide receivers. I believe T. Higgins is going to be the domino to fall out of that receiving group. But other than that, Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, all of those guys, those top three right there, I believe they have pressure upon them all the way through. One, because of Lamar Jackson's contract. He asked for the contract. He held out for it. Now it's time for you to be healthy and play up on the field. Now, granted, his receiving core is all right. It ain't nothing to sneeze at, pretty much. You do have a case for Lamar Jackson a little bit when he was on the field. The wide receiving core wasn't really good because Rashad Bateman, couldn't stay on the field a lot. He's talented, but he can't stay on the field. Outside of Mark Andrews last year, the wide receiving core was not really good. Devin Duvernay's all right, but he's nothing more than a 3. You had Deshaun Jackson. Nobody was scared of that receiving core, but now you got a better receiving core opposing if they're healthy this year, if Rashad Bateman can stay healthy, along with Mark Andrews, and you got a dominant running game, and you got Zay Flowers, who's one of the top route runners in the NBA, in the NFL draft this year. So you have a better receiving core than you already had last year. It's a matter, can they stay healthy, and can Lamar stay on the field and produce?
Yeah. I mean, once again, to kind of go with Key's comment, Jordan picked a good week not to be on the show because he'd probably be losing his mind right now.
Yeah, temper tantrum at that time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's a Ravens fan, and he doesn't hide from that.
Yeah,
the minute he starts talking, you can tell he's a Ravens fan. But I think when I first saw it, I think a lot of people kind of in the comment section under that one did go with Lamar. And like I said, that's kind of that's definitely a good choice. But we'll have to see. Yes, the wide receiver group will probably have a lot to say about his season, plus his health. But most Ravens fans don't want you to make it seem like he has an injury problem. But back-to-back years, it's kind of a trend at this point.
Yep.
And it's one thing if he gets hurt early in the season, misses games early on, he's there at the end of the year, but he's missed the most important weeks 2 years in a row. I mean, last year, with the whole debacle with the playoff game, whether he should play, could have played, he didn't even travel with the team. So, yeah, he definitely is going to have a big year this year.
Yep.
But, yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yep. Yeah. I got one. It's an interesting one for me because I got the NBA for you. And we talking about you guys getting Boston. I want to throw two up in here. I want to throw Jaylen Brown up in this situation too, because we know the situation. You guys are set to pay Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum over $600 million. I believe that's come pretty much. Yep. So I don't know if you guys are gonna can sign both of them, but it's also an interesting one. Sam Cassell is added to the coaching staff. Now, is that brought to put more pressure on Joe Mazzulla going into next year if the team somehow have trouble, or what kind of move, what kind of thing that you see now? Sam Cassell is one of the good respected head assistant coaches. He was on Doc Rivers' assistant coach, one of Doc Rivers' first assistants. He worked out with Maxey, spent a lot of time with Maxey. He spent a lot of time with James Harden as well. So you think he was brought in to put more pressure on Joe Mazzulla and help Joe Mazzulla when he's going through those situations where he can't make those adjustments? And the Jaylen Brown, do you think Jaylen Brown will remain a Celtic?
So I have a feeling Jaylen Brown will remain a Celtic. It seems like Brad Stevens wants it to happen. Tatum's already come out and said, keep us together. I guess the good thing is with Tatum, you still have like 2 years to wait on him. So if you sign Brown this year, you get 2 years. Who knows what the salary cap looks like in 2 years? Maybe you can better handle the two of them making that much money. I mean, it's wild where the contracts are going, but that's just the nature of the business. The Cassell move is a move that I love because I thought the biggest issue with Mazzulla last year was his assistant coaches. He didn't really have quality ones last year. As Doug joins us, what's up, Doug? How you doing? But if you remember, like Will Handy left to take the Utah job, Stoudemire left in the middle of the season for the Georgia Tech job. They lost some assistants before that. Ime's taking assistants now to Houston. So I think Cassell being there, in Cassell's mind, he's looking at it as he's going to be on the bench for a team that's going to have championship aspirations. That's obviously a big get for him. 2, if Mazzulla looks like he's over his head next year, because I think Cassell was in line for the job before Ime got it as well, he might set himself up to get the coaching job if Mazzulla proves he can't do it next year. And I wouldn't be mad to see Cassell coach the Celtics. I mean, he's been in that area. He was on that championship team. He knows what the fan base is all about, so he could handle the pressure of it. So I think it's probably to help Mazzulla grow. I wouldn't say it's to put pressure on him because, last year being his first year, yeah, he struggled, but a lot of first-year coaches struggle in their first year. It's now what can he do now in the offseason, knowing that he is the head coach. He can, because last year, like I said, Udoka was the coach, had the stuff happen, he was gone. Then they named Mazzulla really quickly because they just needed a coach. So he couldn't even really prepare for it. So I think he'll look better next year, but having Cassell there is definitely a big move.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big move. He wasn't ready to jump into the coaching position right then and there.
Right.
Just everything came fast when the Ime Udoka situation happened. But I wanted Sam Cassell. I'm not saying I wanted him to be. I wouldn't be upset if we got him as a head coach. But we did interview him for the coaching vacancies. It's just the Houston Rockets had a lot of pressure on there to get the head coaching situation right, and they did get that situation right, locking them up. They didn't even go through second interview processes. They already named it Ime Udoka, so they shut down all the second interviews and named him the head coach. But for us, Joe Mazzulla. Not mad. I think he didn't make the proper adjustments he needed to be made, but the team did fight. The team did fight for him. They showed a nice little fight coming back down from 3-0. They did show some promise, show some fight. Unfortunately, he's going to probably get a bad rap for how they looked in the game 7, how they possibly looked in that game 7. Jason Tatum, nobody really actually showed up outside of Derek White in the game 7 pretty much, but I think Joe Mazzulla with a full training camp, full summer, I think he's going to be fine. And, Sam Cassell, he's a good person to have on that sideline. He's very good. He's very good with the guard situation. He knows how to adjust to the game. And, he's an NBA champion. He's a 2-time NBA champion, and he knows the game of basketball. So I think that's a good move by the Celtics, hiring, Sam Cassell on that bench with Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, because the best thing for inexperienced coach, new coach, whatever, strong assistant coaching staff. Because, I mean, there's some talks about some other guys who might join the staff, like Rondo, or some people are throwing Doc out there. I do not see Doc being an assistant coach again. But unfortunately, the only head coaching job, which I guess kind of would have gone to my next question, the Toronto job is the only one that's left open, and it kind of seems like nobody wants it. Teams are getting assistant coaches before they can hire a head coach. And my question is going to be like, what do you think would be appealing for the Toronto job, if anything?
I mean, if I had Doc Rivers did pull out of the Phoenix job. Phoenix job. Nobody expected, Monty Williams to be with the Detroit Pistons at that moment. But if you want a coach that's going to groom young players, have and play the young players, and a coach that knows how to coach a style like them young players, I think Monty Williams is perfect. Remember what he did over there at Phoenix when they were very young, over there before getting Chris Paul, before taking that team up another notch. I think he will be good over there with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. You can have a dynamic backcourt over there as well. Marvin Bagley kind of resurrected his career over there with the Detroit Pistons. And James Wiseman looked damn good over there with Detroit, too. He looked damn good over there with Detroit. He looked like a ball player. The Warriors just didn't have time to develop him enough. They Warriors are one of those win now teams that they didn't have time to get a player ready. And James Wiseman, him being over there with Detroit, that's a perfect team over there to be with to get your development going. And I think Monty Williams, that's not a bad situation for him. And he's not up under a lot of pressure. He's gonna have some time to deal with that young team going. So he's not up under. He's just like Ime Udoka. You don't have to rush. You're not up under fire when you with two young teams. Right. That's to be set to be successful. So at the end of the day, I think Toronto, that team is going to look totally different this offseason. That team is going to look totally different. Fred VanVleet, I don't think he's going to be back next year. I think OG and Siakam, you hear trade rumors about them all around. That team can be blown up about the time the season start. And I think, look out, I'm going to give a dark horse. I'm going to give a dark horse coach because I've been hearing his name a lot. Chris Quinn from the Miami Heat. He's out there. I can see him being a candidate. Kevin Ollie can see him being a candidate out there for the Toronto job. James Borrego also, who used to coach for Charlotte. I think I forgot he assisted somewhere, ain't he?
I was about to say, I think he and Kevin Ollie signed assistant jobs because Ollie's going to be in Brooklyn. That's why I was like, these are guys who were supposed to be head coaching candidates, and they saw the Toronto job, was like, I think I'm good on that.
And I believe you got Kenny Atkinson. Kenny Atkinson will be good for us development. So I don't know if Doc Rivers, I don't think he will be interested if everybody else passing up on that job. I don't think Doc Rivers will be a part of a rebuilding process team at this point. So Chris Quinn, and you still will have Kenny Atkinson out there to take the head coaching job, in Toronto. So, but the only thing about it, Toronto, they're gonna still have Scotty Barnes to develop. He's pretty solid. He's pretty good. He can be an all-star someday in the league. But the team is going to be definitely a rebuilding team. Whatever coach comes in there to coach that team, they're going to have to be prepared for a rebuild.
Yes, because I think what's working against, and also I put this up. What's going on, Mo? They're the only team that's in Canada, which I think some people might be running from. And then, like you said, there's going to be probably so many changes with that team. Van Vliet gone. Siakam could be gone. I don't know. It's a team that's like all their guys are like 6'8". Then there's Fred VanVleet. That's like their whole makeup of the team. I think the way the NBA is right now, it was tough for a team like that to win and win a lot, especially go deep into a playoff. Because either they're going to go up against a team that has a really good low post guy, and then those 6'8" guys are going to get destroyed, or they go up against a team that's got really athletic wings, and then outside of Scotty Barnes, everybody else kind of gets blown by in the perimeter, and now you have no rim protection. So the next coach that goes up there is going to have to figure out a new philosophy. It kind of changes up the makeup of the team. I do agree with you. I think it's probably Chris Quinn or Atkinson, because Atkinson was kind of in a similar situation.
He had
the Brooklyn job. Nobody expected anything out of that team, and then the minute they brought in, KD and all those guys, then all of a sudden Atkinson wasn't good enough for the job. I think Atkinson is a really good coach, so if he got the Toronto job, that'd probably be good for him. But yeah, Chris Quinn seems like a rising star in the coaching ranks, and I think the Toronto job would be perfect for a first-time coach to kind of get their feet wet and no expectations up there. So I guess I have to wait till after the Heat run is over to hire him, and then they can finally hire their coach.
Yep, definitely. So it's out of you got a question?
Well, I was about to say, for those of you in the chat, if you guys have a topic you want to throw out there, you can do that now. We can spend the last couple of minutes with you guys, or Coach, you got another one?
I got another one. I kind of throw it out. I want to go to the NFL part, and I want to go to the more like your New England Patriots from last year. Heard Matt Jones wasn't pretty happy last year. I know Matt Jones is gonna get the starting job. It's all safe to say we can say he's gonna win the starting job, but do you think how many games you would think before Bailey Zappi plays this year, because Bailey Zappi did show some promise last year that he could be a quarterback in this league when Matt Jones did struggle. You know, the Patriots kind of flip-flop with the quarterback situation all year long.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien coming in as an offensive coordinator, but he's also hell of I can tell you this. He's a hell of a goddamn quarterbacks coach. I can tell you this. What he did to Christian Hackenberg in Penn State. That takes a lot of coaching to get that guy on the right track. And we know what Christian Hackenberg is right now. He's a part of the league right now. But again, Bill O'Brien is a guy that takes no slouch from anybody. He will hold you accountable. Just he shouldn't have been a GM of the Houston Texans. I think that brought, as far as his personality, I think that changed him. But he is a quarterback guru, just to let everybody know that he knows how to coach, get the best out of the quarterback situations. I mean, goddamn, look what he did to Brian Hoyer. He got the best up out of him. So other than that, but your quarterback situation, how you feel about that though? And do you feel like Bailey Zappi could be the guy for the New England Patriots if Matt Jones doesn't show some promise this coming year?
That's interesting. Hold on, because Key put Drake might be available, for the Toronto job. I'm sure he would take it, and it would turn into a whole show up there. But, so the only thing is, I think the addition of Bill O'Brien is definitely going to help Mac Jones. The other problem is their schedule is really tough. Like their first 4 games, they could be 0-4. And I think it would look bad on Mac Jones, but it could just be the competition that they've had. Now, Bailey Zappi, look, I thought what he did last year was really good. I also wonder if he's more of I mentioned him earlier, like Taylor Heineke. Heineke will come in like 4 to 6 games. He'll look great. Then after that, it's like diminishing returns. He'll look like a backup quarterback. So I think Bailey Zappi at this point is kind of more along the lines of that. But that's not to say, like, if you gave it a couple of years, Bailey Zappi couldn't be a middle-of-the-road starting quarterback in the league. Now, if Mac Jones isn't the guy, I think the perfect scenario would be New England completely bottoming out, being played maybe for, like, Caleb Williams or something next year. The worst thing would be the Patriots finish, like, 7-11, 7-10, 8-9 type area, and you still don't really know about Mac Jones. This year, you kind of have to know whether he's the guy or not, because it's his 3rd year. The 5th year is already looming, and you got to know if you need to bring in somebody new. I'm a big fan. I've been on the Mac Jones bandwagon because I think when you saw competent offensive coaching, he made the playoffs his first year. When you gave him an offensive line coach as an offensive coordinator last year, he was awful. So now you're bringing in a legitimate offensive mind. I'm assuming he'll play better. I just don't know if the record will be any better because of the schedule that they have. But I do think they will be better than some people think. So I think Mac Jones plays the whole year. Maybe outside of like a game or two, we might see Zappi, probably with like an injury type thing. But I don't think we see a lot of Zappi this year.
Gotcha on that one.
I mean, let's see. All right, so nobody in chat has a question. So I think I had one really quickly and then I lost it. All right, yeah. So I think more people are kind of getting in line with, NFL starting to think about teams like that. Who do you have for dark horses, NFC and AFC? So, like a team that nobody's talking about that could make a surprising run.
So the dark horse in the NFC, I'm gonna take the New Orleans Saints as a dark.
East Coast Gridiron.
I'm gonna take the New Orleans Saints as a dark horse in the NFC. Okay. I'm not gonna say they're not gonna win a championship or go to a NFC championship, but they can make life hell because of the defense they got. And now they got a compromise of quarterback in Derek Carr. Derek Carr never played with a top 10 defense in his whole career. The Raiders were never a top 10 defense in his whole career. I think the Raiders and Josh McDaniels, they wanted him out. They showed signs of wanting him out. They got him up out of there. And I think the Raiders are going to they may actually be worse than what they were last year. due to Jimmy Garoppolo's foot not being injured now, which he should have been got surgery on. He been knew he wasn't. Been knew he wasn't coming back to the 49ers. He been knew he was going to go somewhere else. So it was the right time for you to go and get the surgery to be ready by OTAs. Now they have a whole quarterback situation with Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue now. But I think their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games, just like they were last year. They still can get pressure on the quarterback. They got a solid secondary. Still. Now they got Derek Carr, Chris Olave, who was a 1,000-yard wide receiver last year. But they got some pretty good tools on that offensive side of the ball that they can take care of now that they got Derek Carr. So I got them as a dark horse, really, of making the playoffs and making a team feel shook to kind of play them. But I don't think they will be anywhere near. I don't think they would be anywhere near NFC potential, NFC championship potential, or Super Bowl potential, but they could give a contending team a run for their money. And for the AFC, for the AFC side, for us the division, I don't think my Houston Texans will win the division, but I think it's a shot that we could win a division. The division is not even good. First of all, and last year, three of our wins came within the division. So we were 3-2-1 in the division, which means we played well in the division. We helped the Jacksonville Jaguars actually make the playoffs by beating Tennessee. We actually helped the Jaguars make it. We actually made Trevor Lawrence look bad every time we play him. We got a rebound secondary. Jimmy Ward Stingley is going to be better. Petrie is going to be better. Way even better. He's going to probably be an all-pro next year. The way he had the best, you can argue he had the best. He was probably one of the top safeties in the league. Not saying he's a top 5 safety, but he had a great safety rookie season. 147 tackles, 5 interceptions. He was all over the place last year. Now we finally got a goddamn quarterback that won't throw the ball to the other goddamn team and fumble the ball away in tight situations. We got a bruiser running back in Damian Pierce. We added Damian Singletary. We added Devin Singletary from the Buffalo Bills. Our receiving core is better. I'm not saying we're winning the division. I think we're going to win 7 games this year. We're going to go 7-10. That's my breaking point. But don't be surprised if we can win that division, because the division is not so good. Tennessee, they have a great defense. Just a matter if Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry is going to be healthy. Treylon Burks, I'm very high on him as a wide receiver, but I don't think they're really good enough. The Colts, they show signs. They have a solid defense. I don't know what Anthony Richardson is yet. That's a question right there for me. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are the best team in the division. Assuming if Trevor Lawrence be the same Trevor Lawrence as he were last year, and ETN is as good as he was last year, I think the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC South, borderline.
Okay. Well, Jory keep dreaming, because her Tennessee Titans are, close to our heart. So I think I'll start with the AFC. I think my AFC dark horse would be. Hold on. Let's see. East Coast Gridiron. Oh, hell. Jory answered back with, I have no concerns about my quarterback or running back. I have a solid tight end. My O-line has been, for the most part, patched. I have high hopes. Okay. I mean, the AFC South and the NFC South, I think the AFC South probably has a better team in it in Jacksonville, but both divisions could be wide open. I mean, I also think the Texans will probably be better than some people think, because I think C.J. Stroud will be fine year 1, but Breece Hall, you got Robert Woods, so they'll be fine. But my AFC dark horse is probably Cleveland, because like I said before, I think Deshaun Watson gets back to his Texans form, and because of that, that's good enough for a couple more wins right there. I mean, I think some people forget, because of the off the field stuff, and it seemed like it was like 10 years ago. Yeah. Like, he's a really talented quarterback. He's in the mold of quarterback you need today: mobility, arm strength, accuracy. He has all that. I think he gets back to that. So I think Cleveland's a dark horse in the AFC. NFC, my dark horse is going to be. I mean, I know everybody's in love with the Lions, but I feel like right now Lions don't even qualify as dark horse anymore. Oh man, NFC is so tough because you can name like 8 teams in the NFC and probably be right.
Yep.
I'll say Seattle as a dark horse.
Okay.
I think Geno Smith will be a little bit better year 2, and I mean, hopefully they can be a little bit better defensively because they had some games where they couldn't stop the run. But yeah, I think the Seahawks will be fun to watch, and I think in that division, if the Niners can't figure out their quarterback situation, I could see the Seahawks winning that division.
Yep.
And then at that point, you're a top 4 seed in the playoffs. You get a home game. Who knows?
I don't think the Lions got the division wrapped up as everybody think. I think Minnesota still can possibly win the division.
Yeah.
Only thing they didn't really make no significant changes. The only thing they changed is going to change is the running back situation. Now with Alexander Madison maybe getting the busload of the carries, and now you take out Adam Thielen and you just add in Jordan Addison and now a younger wide receiver. I don't think nothing offensively has changed in Minnesota. So I think they still can be the borderline the best team in the division. It's just they won't go any further. They won't go any further in the playoffs. They still will be questionable in the playoffs. So the only thing about them is their secondary. How good the secondary can be now that they added Byron Murphy in the secondary. They got better with Byron Murphy in the secondary. So we think the Lions got an open invitation to be the best team in the NFC North. I think Minnesota still can win that division. They still got the same quarterback. They got the running back situation is going to change with Alexander Madison now being the starting running back. Now you don't have no more Adam Thielen, but that may be good because you got Jordan Addison coming in. You got Jordan Addison coming in from USC. That's a bad guy. That's a bad receiver right there from USC that's going to open up the field for Justin Jefferson. So the team offensively, and they got TJ Hawkinson also from the Detroit Lions. So that team is still pretty much the same offense. Offensively, they still the same team. They didn't really make no real changes on the offensive side of the ball. So they still can be scary in the regular season. Playoffs, different story.
Right. Yeah, and they also brought in Brian Flores to run the defense.
Yep.
So that right there means they're going to improve defensively because we already know what kind of coach Flores is. So Sajin directed at me. I knew you were going to say Seattle, bro. Well, I mean, yeah, he tunes into the big three a lot. We talk about Seattle, and Dylan's the Seahawks fan, but I rate up Seattle as well. So, Sajin's been paying attention. Yeah, I mean, we're actually hour 4 in. Usually about the time we go on cheap seats, but like I said, somebody in the chat had one quick question. We could do that, but if not, Coach, this has been a pleasure. Like I said, the first time doing anything on stream with you. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Hey man, I thank you, man, for having me on. I mean, like I say, anytime y'all need somebody, I'm an open invitation. I'm one group chat message away. I'm one tag away, pretty much.
Yeah. So hey, now that you said that, any chance I need somebody, I'm reaching out to you for sure.
Got you.
But yeah, so looks like nothing in the chat. But appreciate all of you that did tune into the chat. Jory, Sajin. Oh, and here he comes. He has a question right at the end. How are we feeling about Ritter? Hold up. Florida boy top. What up? What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. We can end the show with this. Not a long discussion. So Ritter, for me, there's a lot of talent in Atlanta, which means there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to take that second-year leap. I think the first sign of any slip-up, I think Arthur Smith and those fans are going to want to see Taylor Heineke. And then at that point, I don't know if that might do too much to his confidence. I wasn't big on Ritter when they drafted him. I kind of thought this year they were going to make a play for Lamar when he was kind of just out there hoping someone would throw money at him. I thought it would have made sense with all the moves they made. But look, Arthur Smith believes in Ritter. They drafted Bijan Robinson, so clearly they're going to go with a ground and pound type of offense and only ask Ritter probably to do play action. If he can handle that, they probably win that division. But I'm kind of in a wait and see mode because I was never really sold on Ritter. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about him, Coach?
I'm not a big fan of him either. I think the best Desmond Ritter is going to become as a game manager. I think the best out of him that's going to become you're going to have the top running back in the draft and Bijan Robinson. And you got Chris Algieri who was a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Bijan Robinson, don't get me wrong, to me, he's the best running back in the draft. I don't think he should have been drafted in that spot because Cordero Patterson was really good at the running back situation, and Tyler Algieri is a 1,000-yard wide receiver. So that kind of scratched my head. Yes, to me, he was the best running back in the draft, but I don't think, for us the situation, I don't think he should have been drafted to Atlanta. I don't think he should have been drafted to Atlanta with Tyler Algieri. Now he's going to take some carries away from Tyler Algieri. Now that he was a top overall pick in the draft, now you're putting pressure on him. You're going to ask Tyler Algieri to take a step back, and now you putting Bijan right up in the situation at the starting role, a guy that was a 1,000-yard wide receiver last year. So they definitely play more of that ground and pound as well. They got a good receiver in Drake London, who had a really good season. 800 yards, not bad for a rookie. Mm-hmm. That's not bad for a rookie. Kyle Pitts was a little bit disappointing last year. The secondary got better with Jeff Okudah, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell. I can say their secondary is a little better. David Onyemata is going to help them get some pressure on the quarterback. That's one thing they struggled at last year, is getting pressure on the quarterback. So I think at best, Desmond Ritter is going to be a game manager. I don't think nothing more but a game manager. If he can just keep the ball out of harm's way, I think they should do enough. I think they should be fine.
All right. Well, side input. Okay. Thank you, guys. Hey, we're here to answer your questions. Yeah, so I think that'll be the last question of the night. Like I said before, fun having you on, Coach. Next week, Jordan and Gene should be back. I'll be here. I'm usually not going anywhere. So, but yeah, this has been another episode of Cheap Seats. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because Sports Empire Network's got a lot going on. You can check out Coach on one of his play-by-plays. I think we got Jake doing Stanley Cup tonight. So definitely check him out. But a lot of great people on the channel, a lot of great shows. Never disappointed. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. But until next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, this is Cheap Seats, and we're out. Have a great rest of your night. See you guys later.
See y'all guys.